as well.
It's easy to pick out a case and cherry pick this and say, this is the problem that we're all facing because this one person did this one horrible thing. And we can all agree that that's a horrible thing. But that's not how you make policy. You don't make policy because of anecdotal evidence. You make policy based on facts and statistics and data.
Yeah, and that's
Gail, right? Is going to come in and say that he did exactly what he said he is, because the Trump people believe whatever Donald Trump says.
And you're going to disagree with everything.
Because I believe
your hair
in facts.
can't go on fire because you don't have any hair, but...
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this panel, and we'll talk about it.
Tonight, the front man for the Trump immigration crackdown, Tom Homan, who you probably know by now, he gave a sneak peek of this to Fox News just now.
Am I blowing your cover when I announce that there's going to be a big raid in Chicago on Tuesday? Or do you want people to know? Maybe they can self-deport.
There's going to be a big raid all across the country. Chicago is just one of many places. We got 24 field officers across the country. On Tuesday, you're going to expect ICE. ICE is finally going to go out and do their job. We're going to take the handcuffs off ICE and let them go arrest criminal aliens. That's what's going to happen.
Joining our fifth seat is Touré, the host of Rap Latte on YouTube. This is what we expected to happen for the Trump administration's first start, but now we have some details. They're going to go for a big bang in these big cities. Chuck, what do you make of this?
You know, this is what Trump ran on. He ran on scared politics. I think it's important to center this conversation to talk about immigration some, and that the last full month of the Biden administration here in December was the lowest crossing at the border since 2020 when Donald Trump was president. Do I agree that if there's bad people here that have committed major crimes, they should be kicked out of this country? Absolutely. But 68% of all the Latinos in America know somebody that's undocumented. And for all you folks at home, that's the folks who's picking your salad and milking your cows. On CNN tonight, in South Dakota, our farmer came on this show and talked about how he had voted for Donald Trump and didn't really think Donald Trump was going to deport the men and women who are milking his cows. Milk's finna go up. Buckle up.
Well, I want to, you made a point here about...
The reason for that is simple, because it's just not about crime. It's been said over and over. Illegal immigrants are committing crimes at a lower rate than Americans. It's not about that. It's just not. It's about, let's just be real, it's about racism. He used this fear-mongered on his base because he knows a good amount of the conservative base is just racist, and they want people who are of different skin color to get out of here. This is the same reason that they attack DEI. No matter any of the facts, no matter it's showing that it's beneficial to companies to insert some type of DEI into their companies. They don't care because, again, it's not about that. It has nothing to do with meritocracy with them. It has to do with color. And Hispanics out there, as an Hispanic, who voted for Trump, you guys should be disgusted with yourself. And I hope you feel good having this closing the door behind me mentality. You've only been here a couple generations at most. And by the way, if you ever think that MAGA or conservatives will ever see you as a true American, ask Black Americans if they're seen as true Americans.
About criminals, because I think they've been pretty clear for logistical reasons that they are going to start with the, figuratively speaking, the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing for them to accomplish. Are you, Keith, concerned about a plan that involves rounding up people who are already adjudicated as criminals? Maybe they have deportation orders, maybe they have final orders of deportation, and saying, we're finally going to get you and deport you as a court has adjudicated?
Well, the devil's in the detail, and I don't really know where the details are. It seems like there's a lot of puff right now and a lot of scare tactics. They want people to be afraid about this. I just don't understand how they have the infrastructure to be able to pull this off on Tuesday. I mean, Tom Homan himself was saying, we need 100,000 detention beds in order to be able to do this. We have like 20,000 or 40,000 or something like that. You're talking about doubling the number of detention beds in order to be able to keep these people in some sort of space before you can deport them. How are they going to possibly do this? So I think a lot of what is going on right now is they want people to be scared so that Trump can come in and pretend like he's doing something. We're going to have a lot of executive orders signed in the next few days, and we're going to think there's something happening, but I don't really think he's going to be able to do as much as he wants to do. But it will be dangerous, but not as quickly as he wants it to be.
I think, though, that...
Guys, and one thing, deportation is going to cost billions. Billions. Not only that, the lost revenue that they produce by working for companies, they paid $100 billion in the past 4 years into Social Security, in which they get no benefits. It's going to hurt Americans 100%. Guys, we have millions of jobs. I think it was something like 8 million jobs that are unfilled in this country still. With all the immigration and all the Americans we have here, we're just leaving money on the table. And I think it's so embarrassing that about half of Hispanics voted for this disgusting racist Trump and that movement. And we'll talk about that a little bit later.
What's important to remember is that a lot of the policies that were put in place by the Biden administration are going to be taken away, so that hopefully we go back to the Trump way it was, where the stay in Mexico policy. I mean, we had a week and a half ago in Boston, we had a situation where an illegal was in a housing unit with over $1 million worth of fentanyl, an AK-47 and weapons. And these are the type of people that they want to get rid of. These are the people, I mean, there are going to be plenty of
and
people,
New Orleans who are killing people as well.
criminals.
I mean, we have American citizens in the United States who are committing acts of terrorism, who are committing murders and crimes. In fact, American citizens, natural-born American citizens, are more likely to commit those crimes than people who come here as immigrants.
Then
So
they have to
it's
face,
easy to
they have to face a court as well.
It's easy to pick out a case and cherry-pick this and say, this is the problem that we're all facing because this one person did this one horrible thing. And we can all agree that that's a horrible thing. But that's not how you make policy. You don't make policy because of anecdotal evidence. You make policy based on facts and statistics and data.
Yeah, and the fact remains that the overwhelming number of immigrants here are law-abiding people who are paying taxes, who are following the law. And this sort of notion of like, we must remove all of them as rapidly as possible, and that's the problem with America, that's a really dangerous way to look at it.
Well, they're not going to be able to remove all of them.
That's right.
Like, almost everybody acknowledges that. And so are we going to see a bunch of activity on Tuesday, and then it's going to taper off when people turn to other issues that come up? Because to get to even 1 million is going to take quite a long time. It could take the entire year, let alone 11 million. That's probably not going to happen.
You'll see activity. I don't know about a lot of activity, but for anyone who thinks that Donald Trump is bluster and bluff on this issue, he ran on it. He didn't run on scare tactics. He ran on what was either the top issue or the second top issue among the American people for the entirety of the campaign. And so you're going to see him deliver on his promise. It will be a promise made, promise kept to start moving forward on that. But I will say, I think it is a fair criticism that expectations have not been appropriately set. I think that Donald Trump, Tom Homan, the entire team needs to do a better job explaining precisely what we will see and when, because there are some folks on my side of the aisle, Republicans, who are going to expect everything to get fixed in 6 months, and there are others who will expect absolutely nothing will happen. Government is government. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be easy, and they need to be honest about that.
What are we in for in terms of the legal environment? I mean, I remember, like almost like it was yesterday, that first week of the first Trump administration, when people were at airports, there was mass confusion both inside and outside of the United States. There were court cases being adjudicated in the middle of the night, all kinds of things like that. It was actual pure chaos.
I remember that. That was going back to the Muslim ban and a lot of the stuff that was putting in. Let me live this in real life. Both of my business partners are immigrants. They've both been in this country over 20 years. One of them under DACA, the temporary service for kids who have come, and the other under TPS from El Salvador. Both went to their entire school in America. Both graduated with honors. Both of them now are business partners with me and make more money than a U.S. congressman and don't know the certainty of what their lives will be. Have they broke the law? No. But if they stay past March when one of their TPS expires, then they have, quote unquote, broke the law, to your points about devils in the details. So real people are living this, and I have a very, very good life. And folks around me have a good life. Think about the people who are just trying to make it every day and the uncertainty in their life.
So
I'm sorry, if this had...
And one thing I want to say, this whole pick-me mentality and Hispanic conservatives, it's just, you're perpetuating the problem. It's clear why you do this. You come to this country and not try to associate with Black Americans in any way, because you are at that moment acknowledging that they aren't seen favorably, or that clearly it's racism against them. So why would you want to be associated with that, with that group of people? Thereby perpetuating the racism. And it's why Hispanics will deal with this, with similar levels of racism. Do you not see the cycle that you're creating? They're never going to accept you. Conservatives are not going to accept you. You guys are cowards, and you're shameful.
been an issue that both sides in Congress had been actually trying to fix for years. I could understand this, but this has been a problem that especially Republicans have lifted up and not wanted a solution so they could continue running on it. And this is like the ultimate I'm going to seem tough on crime moment. And it is going to be quite frightening for a lot of Americans to watch these sort of raids. This is not the sort of America that a lot of people want.
So let me.
I don't know
let me
that we're
throw
going to have
something out
raids. I
for
don't
you,
know
Keith,
that
because
raids is the right.
No, literally
Just
raids.
promise
I mean,
raids.
that's what the reporting is, that they're going to be conducting raids, which wouldn't be, just to be clear, this is not new, right? Raids, immigration raids happen all the time. They happened in the last Trump administration. But Keith, just from a politics perspective, for Democrats, I mean, there are some who say, let's not have a hair on fire moment for every single thing. If on this first day they do as they say, they go after criminals, should Democrats pitch a fight about that?
Well, I'm of the belief that Democrats should fight back on every issue where there's disagreement and agree where there is agreement. But I also understand that this is not very popular. Mass deportations don't poll well. Look at all the polls. That nobody wants this. I don't know. The Republican base wants it, but the majority of the American people, the independents, Democrats, and others don't want this. So let him go ahead and do it in some ways, and he's going to find out just how quickly
the
that there's
counterpoint
a
to that
repercussions
is that
to that.
Donald Trump ran explicitly
Exactly.
on
He also-
mass deportation.
Americans do want
Yeah,
this.
but
there's also movement
on
among Latino
lowering
voters on
prices,
this
which he's
issue.
already said he's not going to do.
Look, I'm just saying, Trump did not shy away from the fact that he said he wanted to put immigrants in camps, okay?
And
Americans said they voted for him.
He said one brutal, violent day. He said that Haitians were eating cats and dogs. And other things that they shouldn't be eating.
Go back to what you're saying and what Pete was saying earlier about Trump makes these promises and follows through on them. Donald Trump spent all of 2015 and 2016 promising to do what? He was going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. And everybody was all hyped up about that. Where's that damn wall and where's the money from Mexico?
Yeah, and it was a pretty smart negotiation tactic
And Mexico
to get
didn't pay for
Mexico
it.
to start doing more on their side of the border. You're just blind to it because you don't want to admit it, Keith.
But this is the
that
problem,
works.
Keith. But
That
this-
works.
No,
He
the
has a
wall
different
should be
style
finished.
of doing the job, a very different style.
So
and
you're
he's
admitting that it's all
transparent.
bluffing. But the problem is, though, Abby, is that Donald Trump can say whatever. It doesn't matter if it's true or false because Pete is going to come here and agree with it and say that he did exactly what he said. And Gail, right, is going to come in and say that he did exactly what he said he is. Because the Trump people believe whatever
And
Donald
you're
Trump
going to disagree
says.
with everything.
Because I believe
your hair
in facts.
can't go on fire because you don't have any hair. But
thank you. I believe in
but,
facts because
that's
I believe
the way
in
you do
facts.
it.
That's the first factual thing
And
he
the
said.
fact is that Mexico did step
Mexico
it up.
did
Not enough,
pay
but
for
they
a
did.
wall. They did not pay for a wall. Just like Donald Trump did not win the election, even though Pam Bondi won't admit that. I mean, there's certain basic facts that we have to agree with, you know, like the fact that Donald Trump did not have the largest inauguration in American history. But people keep saying these things and people keep believing in the Trump world.
But people are coming here because there's
Like, this is what they do. He just pointed out that no matter what a mistake, Keith Boykin just pointed out, no matter what nonsense, even whether it works or doesn't work, they're always going to agree it was a good idea. Oh, he was playing some 4D chess. And this guy goes personal. Well, you don't have any hair. This is what they do when they get cornered. They throw a tantrum like a little kid and get personal.
economic problems in Mexico. It's not that some political situation where Mexico is sending them. That's not really.
It's actually, I mean, and it's not even really Mexico
No,
that
it's
is the
not.
crux of the issue anymore, even. I mean, it's the Central American countries for the most part. It's time now. We will see whether Trump actually does what he is going to do. There will be no more guessing about it. It'll happen in just a couple of days. Everyone stick around.
And guys, I'm gonna leave it there, but let me give you my rant. That whole sending them, it's again a fear tactic. They never talk about that, about people coming from white countries. They're sending these kinds of people, and then they look this kind of skin color, right? It's all part of this sick racism, and you have to understand, if you really want to get to the details of this, when it comes to Hispanic culture, there's a racial ambiguity, right? I think I said this before, meaning you could be from the same exact country and look like someone like me. You could look like Marco Rubio. You could look like Abby Phillip. So again, when they're rounding these people up, illegal immigrants up, I have no idea how they're going to do it. Are they going to start with the ones that look like me? Like, you're going to make mistakes. I've been mistaken for Middle Eastern countries, straight up Black American, Hispanic, which I am, like, I don't even understand how they're gonna do this, and it's sickening because obviously people like Hispanics, like Ted Cruz, are looked at more favorably in this country because he just looks like a white dude, right? And then you literally, it goes worse and worse, meaning someone like that's my skin color will look as a bit more favorably than someone that would be Abby Phillips. This is just straight racism. It's disgusting. And guys, remember with this whole Trump thing that said, well, illegal immigrants, they're taking black jobs. You have to understand, again, what he's trying to say when he says that. Illegal immigrants, for the most part, don't even know English. They're working in food prep, house cleaning, agriculture. Why did Trump call those black jobs? Why not white jobs? Think about that for a second. Black women are the most educated group in this country. Why would you call those black jobs? I'll give you a hint, conservatives. It's racism. And Hispanics out there that voted for Trump. You too. How conservatives can't see how barbaric this is and then call themselves good Christians? Good Christian conservatives, right? Could you imagine if Hispanics stood on the side of Black Americans and voted in the 80s for the party that supports them? Which, again, the Democrats are not perfect. They have 1,000 things wrong with them, but they're not actively working against you like conservatives are. And there's a lot of white Americans that stand on the side of black and brown people. The world could just look so different if we just didn't have these cowards and weak people in this country. This pick me mentality or close the door behind me mentality. When your issues are damn near identical, you still choose not to stand on this side. Why? You're perpetuating the racism. I'm talking to you, MAGA conservative Hispanics especially. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Please leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.